I'm Ivan, this is DIY Detail, and today we're going to be cleaning a hybrid engine. Yes, this is a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid. It's actually my own vehicle, and you'll notice the orange cables. That is an indication of the high voltage for a hybrid. Now, how are we going to be doing this? Using rinseless wash. Let's get going. Starting with a Tornador air foamer. This converts the liquid into a foam using compressed air. This is a very low water way of doing it and a very efficient way of doing it. I have rinseless wash diluted 10:1 in the foamer, and here we go. For those of you wondering, no, this isn't just dust. Here's an example. Here's with a blowgun. It's not just dust. We're gonna let this sit and dwell for a few minutes and then rinse it off. Next up, we'll be using the classic Tornador to rinse away. I only have water in here. I never recommend putting a chemical in a Tornador because of the fine atomization. You don't want any of that. You don't want to be breathing any chemicals, therefore just water. When you're driving through the rain, there's more moisture in this engine compartment than what I've done here. I've barely used about 200 milliliters of water to drain this out. That's all you really need. From here, I'm going to refoam with rinseless wash and then brush to get into all those tiny little areas. Now we take our brushes of choice, in this case the wheel and body brush for the larger areas and the little fine brush everywhere else. And agitate the rinseless, lifting the dirt. So all the large areas that I can get to using this brush, I will. And then I'll fill in with the small brush. There's no need to use caustic degreasers or acids or anything like that when you're doing an engine bay. It's just dust. This is a relatively new vehicle. It's got about 20,000 miles. Therefore, it doesn't have oil leaks or anything like that. What is here is dust that accumulates and sticks because as you're driving down the road, when it's raining, water is coming in here, going through the radiator, covering this in water and making that dust stick. All we're doing now is dislodging it, and the rinseless is more than strong enough to do the job. It's easy to see by the foam where you've been and where you haven't. That way, it's easy to move across the engine methodically and get everywhere we need to go. Now the DIY detail rinseless, as you can see, foams pretty well. Not something we normally do, but this is a case where the foaming ability of it is a good thing. And Ford saw it in their infinite wisdom to not put an engine cover on this, even though the little studs for it are here. Wonder if it's an option. If it is an option, it's one I'd like to get actually. On most engines, you'll have a cover that snaps on here, and you don't see all the injectors and the coil packs and all of that. All you see is a little hole for this, a little hole for that, and a nice plastic engine cover. We didn't remove it, it just never came with the car. Cost savings. Certain areas in the engine compartment, we can actually rinse with a hose. These plastics on the outside, basically you want to stay away from these orange wires. So I can actually rinse the engine down without a problem using the garden hose. It'll save me a bit of time and at the same time, make sure I'm doing a better job. And those of you that are stressed out that I'm getting the alternator wet, this doesn't have one. Finally, the more sensitive areas, I'll rinse using the Tornador. And you can see how much liquid is in it. We used about 100 milliliters last time, so not much. And this vapor is not steam coming off the engine. That is what the Tornador does. Therefore, that's why I'm always telling people not to put chemicals in here. Chemicals, you're gonna be breathing them, not a good idea. This is just water. Always clean from different directions. That way, you're making sure you're getting everything. If you don't have a Tornador, you can do this the traditional way using an IK foamer, foaming on some all clean, letting it dwell, rinsing it off. They're meant to be wet under here, but we don't want to be driving water in with a pressure washer necessarily. That's where this kinder, gentler approach comes in. But of course, you need a compressor, you need the Tornador to do that. From here, the next step normally for us is to rinse it off and use quick beads. We're not going to be using quick beads. We don't want to get it overly wet in here. Therefore, we're just going to let it air dry, or I can force dry it using the Tornador. Of course, you can always use a leaf blower. If you want to dress the engine bay, you can. There's a couple strategies. We can spray on our tire dressing, work it in with a brush, or you can actually apply it using the leaf blower. Once you've applied it with the leaf blower, spread it around again with the leaf blower. There we have it. We'll allow this to air dry, let the tire dressing settle in. We'll show you a picture as I'm talking here of what it looked like once it was all dry. But in the meantime, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you'd like to know where to get these Tornadors, there will be links down below of all the tools used. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, please always feel free to ask. We're here to help, and we'll see you in the next one. But in the meantime, here's another engine bay cleaning you might want to watch of a big V8.